Welcome to Reiki Rising, your guide to all things Reiki and igniting your spiritual path. Join us every week as we delve into the transformative world of Reiki, sharing insights on how to navigate this earthly journey while elevating the vibration of the collective. Be prepared for deep discussions, enlightening interviews, and maybe even a glimpse or two into our live Instagram Reiki shares and conversations. Whether you're a seasoned practitioner or new to the energy healing realm, this podcast is your sanctuary for growth, healing, and connection. Welcome to Reiki Rising. This week we are talking about strengthening your Reiki Spirit Team. So what is your Spirit Team? Your Reiki Spirit Guides consist of Ascended Masters, Spirit or Totem Animals, Elemental Spirits, as well as our Spirit Guides, Angels, any of those figures that we choose to bring into our practice, into our spiritual practice, into our Reiki practice. So if you've had a session with me one-on-one before, you have probably heard me say something like, you can feel free to call in any spirit animals, guides, totems that you wish to have here with you on your journey. So as we talk about this today, we'll be talking about how to strengthen these connections, how to recognize who our spirit guides, our animals, our totems are, how to work with our ancestors, how to strengthen these connections through practices such as meditation, through journaling, how to look at symbolism. So there's a lot to unpack here. So if you're ready to jump in, we will go ahead and get started. So we'll be talking first about our Ascended Masters. And our Ascended Masters are these enlightened beings who have ascended, who have passed on from this existence. So we're talking about receiving healing from higher realms. So these are like Kuan Yin or Buddha or Jesus, any of those that you identify with and that resonate with you. These are beings that bring some type of profound wisdom into your practice to help guide you on your journey. Your spirit guides, these can be ancestors, any type of energies that are from other realms that come in to help you navigate your life's journey. So your spirit guides are here to assist you at the soul level. So you've been assigned this guide during this experience for your entire life. And this is your soul's experience. It's not necessarily your human experience here. So we're talking about our spirit guides being here to help you navigate this experience that you've chosen to navigate. So when we incarnate here on earth, we've chosen a plan of, these are the experiences, these are the lessons that I want to learn. And our spirit guides are here to help guide us there in that direction, to keep us on that path. So when we're talking about inviting them into our practice, we're talking about asking maybe our spirit guides, is this aligned with my soul's purpose? Is this beneficial to my greatest good, to my soul's purpose on this journey? And so if we're asking them to provide this, we're also tuning into our intuition as well. So we're tuning into that listening deep within, that when we ask these questions, that first thing that comes into our mind, that first thought or emotion that comes through is our spirit energy, our spirit team speaking to us. And there are other guides that can come through as well. We have angelic beings, angels of pure love and light, and they offer protection and healing and unconditional love. And each of these has a specific role. So you may hear like Archangel Michael or Raphael and the healing powers. So if you study Shambhala Reiki as I do, then we talk about Michael a lot as the angel. So this is a part of that lineage, but it's up to you what you identify with. I don't have a strong connection to angelic guides, angelic presence. It's not something that really resonates with me specifically. I'm more drawn to elemental spirits or to my ancestors or to just my spirit guides in general. So with any of this, you really need to feel into what your spirit team may look like, who might be in that spirit team or what might be in that spirit team. So if we're talking about elemental spirits, these can be things like fairies or gnomes, but they can also be other nature spirits like the wind. They could also be the elements of the earth, the element of water. So there are a lot of options here. So really feeling into what you connect with the most. When it comes to the elements, thinking about connecting to what you feel most drawn to. So for me, I feel really drawn to the forest. So earth elements are really important to me. I do a lot of grounding visualization, which we'll talk about visualization here in a later part of this segment. When we're talking about connecting with our guides, we're talking about bringing in these elements as well. So if you have spirit guides that maybe you haven't identified fully yet, taking the time to really look at, what do they provide? What is this intuition that is coming through, these messages that are coming through that you can identify? Maybe if it's just one word or if it's a symbol. Sometimes symbols are really important as well. So there are lots of ways that we can connect with different elements and different guides that can help us. We'll also talk a little bit about spirit animals or animal totems, power animals. So these are really here to help remind you of different aspects of your own power and different, the nature of each totem animal symbolizes something. So we'll talk about the symbolism of animal spirits a little bit later on. So one of the ways that you can connect with your guides is establishing a strong meditation practice or a journaling practice. So this is not to be taken as like you just have to sit and be quiet and wait for your guide to come through. It's setting the intention to sit in meditation, to create that space for you to connect with your guides. So setting aside some time. And if you're connecting with nature spirits, I suggest doing this in nature. Sitting in nature, somewhere outside. It can even be in your backyard or your front yard or wherever. And sitting in that space with the intention of connecting with each of those elements and how they feel to you, and getting a real sense of what this might feel like when that element or when that guide is speaking with you or sending a message to you. When you're in meditation, setting this intention of connecting with this guide and visualizing a peaceful place that is someplace it can be in real life or it can be a place that you create, but creating a space for you to meet your guides. That's important as well. A space that you can go to each time to connect with these energies. This can be a place where you feel safe, and it should be a place where you feel safe and connected and open to feeling into any impressions that you get, any feelings, messages that may come through, and inviting your guides into this space with you. After you have meditated, this is really where the journaling comes in. You can write down any messages, any insights that you receive, any feelings, and over time, there may be patterns that you see. So this is not something that is just an instant practice where, okay, I sat down and now I know exactly who my guides are. This is a journey. This is a process. So we're learning to build a relationship, and we're strengthening this relationship by continuing this process, continuing to meet with our guides, to invite them, to speak with them, to ask for help, to ask for guidance. How will they be able to communicate with us if we don't open that line of communication? So when you start meditating and writing down these patterns, you will begin to form. So when you write down over time, you'll see there's maybe a symbolism of, I really feel like the wind is very connected to me. When I think of asking a question, I'll feel the wind, or I can listen to the water, and within that I can feel into intuitive messages that are coming through. It may also just be certain animals. So as we're talking about insects or animals, power animals that come through, for me personally, I connect with ants sometimes, and this will change throughout your life. There'll be different times where you're connected with different symbols or different guides because they're there to support you on your journey, and some of them will have gotten you to a point and then it's no longer needed, and maybe it'll come back into your life at some point. But so for me, I'll get to those spirit animals, but I see ants a lot when I am needing to be patient, and I have a deck that has spirit animals in it, and I have one at work that I will pull a card, and often if I'm really struggling and I want something to move forward, the ant will come through. And that's how I learned really about the message of the ant is patience. And so when I see that, I'm like, okay, I need to pause. So that's just one example of a spirit connecting with me, or a guide from the universe connecting with me. Another way is visualization. So this can be really helpful and similar to how we would think of visualizing Reiki light when we do self-healing, or if you're a practitioner and you begin to start a healing session. Imagining this beam of light moving through you, and this being a connection to your guide, this being a conduit for communication, for allowing you to receive messages from your guides. This will help you connect with intuitive guidance, and it'll help enhance your own healing session as well as sessions with other people. It can create this ongoing relationship because as soon as you connect with that light, you're connecting with that guide. You're connecting, opening this channel and saying, I am inviting this guide in to help me in this journey, to help me with this healing, to provide support, to provide wisdom whenever I need it. So doing a visualization is key as well. Doing a lot of visualization, either through your meditation, through just sitting in visualization with an intention to invoke a specific or a group of guides. So if we're looking to invoke a specific guide, then we would set that intention to invite a guide in. If you know who your guides are, you can feel into what it is that's best needed in that situation. So if I am in need of more nurturing, then I can invite a more maternal archetype in, a more maternal figure. So maybe I'll want to connect with Gaia, with Mother Earth, and connect with the energies of nourishment, and embracing the womb of the earth. Like all of those elements, we can call those in and they can really help us. Another way is to just speak an affirmation, to follow your heart and to speak from your heart. Expressing your desire for this assistance is really important. As I said before, when we are trying to form this communication, if we aren't expressing that we want them to help us, that we are looking for that guidance, then how are they going to be showing up for us in a way for us to recognize? So trusting in that when we send that message out, that they're going to respond. And that means looking for synchronicities, looking for patterns that show up afterwards. And we can even do this so that we can like ask a specific thing, like show me, my partner said one day, show me a red bird if I'm like on the right track. And so then they saw red birds. The whole entire next day, they saw multiple red birds. Another one that I like kind of know if I'm going in a different direction is I'll see a lot of dragonflies. And I take that as a symbol of finding a new path or a new direction or being able to change directions. Same with hummingbirds, finding my true north, finding the sweetness in life. So there are a lot of different animal archetypes that we can bring in different energies within spirit animals and power animals. And our spirit animals and power animals or animal totems are with us from the time that we come into the physical existence. So if we are connecting with our spirit guides and our angelic guides at higher realms, so at the upper realms, when we are at the soul level, we're connecting with spirit totems or spirit animals at the earth level. And so this is a place where they come in when we're really young, and it may be that you're really connected to a specific symbol. Like young kids will identify or really be attached to certain animals, types of animals. They may not even be animals that they've seen in person, but they're just more drawn to them. And so they know, like their intuition tells them like what animals are there guiding them and helping them. So giving your inner child the space to connect with that spirit animal as well could be beneficial to you, especially if you're dealing with inner child wounds and we are trying to heal those parts of ourselves. Connecting with those spirit animals that were important to us when we were younger. They can serve as allies and guides in our healing work as well. I often call in ravens as messengers. Surprise, raven calling in a raven. But I see them as messengers. And so I, will do that in my own spiritual healing work as well as during sessions. If I'm sending a message, I will use a raven or call on the energy of a raven for that purpose. Each of these animals carries a specific meaning. A hawk symbolizes vision and perspective. So getting a wider view of things. If we are having a lot of difficulty or going through some difficult challenge where we are trying to see the bigger picture, we're having trouble seeing the bigger picture because we're so focused on this tiny little aspect of what's happening right now. We can call in the medicine of the hawk. We can call in for that spirit to help us give or see a wider perspective so that we can have a new view on things. We can see things from different directions, and that can help us work through a lot of things. Deer is gentleness and unconditional love. So if we are maybe being really difficult and hard on ourselves, not difficult, but hard on ourselves about something, I mentioned calling in earth energies and like Mother Earth before, needing that nurturing aspect. Having gentleness and unconditional love from the deer spirit totem, that can be beneficial as well. You just really have to feel into what elements, spirits, or animals you are really connected to in your practice. Once you've identified these, you can start to write down patterns as well. So if you're keeping a journal where you're writing down your meditations and all of your guide connections, you can begin to write down what animals are showing up for you and reflect on the behavior of the animal when you see it, what its characteristics are. If you aren't sure what the traits are, look up this animal. Like, what do they do? How do they move in the world? What is their life like? What is their experience as this insect or as this animal? And how can that relate to your current situation or to your spiritual path in general? You can tap into these strengths and these energies, and they can help to give you perspective and also enrich your healing practice within Reiki, whether it's with you or with other people. When it comes to honoring ancestral wisdom, I really find it important to start with creating a sacred space for your ancestors. We are calling in the wisdom and the blessings to enrich our practice. So creating a sacred space could look like building an altar with photographs. If you have any objects or mementos from people in your family who have passed, honoring your lineage, even if you aren't sure or don't have those artifacts or photos, continuing to learn about your lineage to try to make a connection there will help deepen this practice. Look up any rituals or practices that are connected to your lineage. If you have maybe Celtic heritage, or maybe you have Spanish heritage, or Italian heritage, or if you're looking at African heritage, like see if what aligns. And there are many different practices within different areas of different regions. So really just try to see how much you can find out and really trust your intuition. When you come across a practice, if it really does connect with you, then use your discretion, like work with it, see why you're connected to it, really be conscious about the practices that you are connecting with, because there's also a sense of appropriation here. So we don't want to be including practices that don't necessarily align with our heritage or our ancestry. But you have to make the choice that is right for you. I'm not going to tell you how to practice. You just really need to trust your intuition, pay respect to these ancestors, to your altar. The more love that you give to your altar, the more connection you create. So monthly or every week, I like to put flowers. Every month I like to clear it off and kind of clean up my altar, and some people do this seasonally. This is a place where you can come and connect with those practices of your ancestry, with your specific ancestors. So this is really paying, by building this altar, it's really paying respect to the wisdom and the knowledge of these ancestors. And you're asking for guidance and you're asking for inspiration. You also need to be giving as well. We need to create with any of our guides an equal exchange of energy. We want to create an even flow of energy between the two. So when we're asking to awaken our spirit team, we're finding these connections, we're meditating, we are looking at our ancestry, we're looking at our visualization and how we can call the energies of all of these guides into our practice, but how can we also share with these as well? So making sure to be kind to our spirit animal friends. When we come across, and as you are within your practice, again, I'm not saying you have to be vegan or plant-based, but I personally don't feel that I can call on animal spirits if I'm willing to unnecessarily eat or kill animal spirits. Just today, I had a moth and a small spider in the healing space, and I took them both outside most of the time, if I tried to interact with one of these insects or creatures, I can just, tell it, hey, I'm just going to try to take you outside, and they'll willingly go. So it's really not that difficult to exchange this energy of kindness and appreciation in the opposite direction when it comes to our altars with our ancestors, putting flowers, spending time to care for the altar, placing food on the altar. If you work with any deities, you will want to feed them. You will want to nourish them. The more you nourish these connections, the stronger they will grow. So that is all I have for you today on the discussion topic. Thank you for joining us on this transformative journey with Reiki Rising. Ready to take your spiritual expansion to the next level? Join us on the Reiki Rising Collective and unlock a world of connection and growth. Subscribe through our Patreon, link in the description of this podcast episode, and gain access to exclusive weekly live distance Reiki shares and enriching discussions. As a member, you'll also receive one-on-one coaching sessions, discounts on workshops, and so much more. Follow me, your guide in all things Reiki, on Instagram at Raven Waterblossom, and take the next step on your journey. Join us in the Reiki Rising Collective. We can't wait to meet you.